You're now tuned into the Lady Charmaine Live Show, and I'm your host, Lady Charmaine. And as always, I have another great interview for you today. Now, when you think of television shows and movies like Chicago Hope or Gridlocked, or how about Marvel's Netflix Daredevil, this one person might just come to mind, and I tell you who it is coming up right after this. My guest today is an actor, screenwriter, film, and television director. He is known for his role as Dr. Dennis Hancock in Chicago Hope and in the Netflix TV series Marvel's Daredevil. He also wrote, directed, and starred in the cult film Gridlocked. And he is here today to talk about his role in the awe-inspiring film that I believe is soon to be an Oscar-nominated film, and that film is Harriet. Help me welcome to the Lady Charmaine Live Show, Mr. Vondie Curtis Hall. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Well, I am glad to have you here. And I'm going to put this out there. Are you guys preparing for your red carpet wardrobe that you're going to wear on the red carpet when you guys get nominated for an Oscar?
Yes, we are.
And tell me, which designer?
Certainly, Cynthia is getting her wardrobe together, and I think Casey's getting hers together as well.
And you should be too. And tell me, which designer do you think you might be using? Would that be Mr. Kevin Hall? Who do you think you might use for your red carpet ensemble?
That would be Kevin Hall. Yes,
absolutely.
Casey be wearing Kevin Hall.
I had to just throw that in there. For those who did not know, that is Vondie's brother. So I'm sure he's going to be wearing one of those Hall couture outfits down the red carpet. But first, I want to say to you guys, congratulations on this film. I walked out of this film feeling so empowered. I am sure that's probably what you wanted people to feel, but Cynthia, her role in this film, she really brought the essence of Harriet Tubman. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for bringing this film to he's 5 years old, so something my son can look at and be proud of. So thank you.
Yes, you're absolutely welcome. We're so proud of this movie and just the reception it's gotten, and just I get so many messages and texts of people who've gone 2 and 3 times and said, "Oh, I like it. It's better even the third time I've seen it." So we're really happy with the success and the impact it's having on the community.
Now, many people don't know that this film is actually a family affair. Your wife directed the film. Your son, Henry, also played Walter in the film. What was it like for you all to bring this magic to the screen and work together?
Oh, gosh, it was a thrill. I mean, it's my fourth film I've done with Kasi as an actor, with her directing, and she's done 3 of my movies as an actor. And so then to bring our son in, well, my son was in one of my films when he was about 8 or 9, but then to have him, the 3 of us, to be actually working now this past year, it's just great. And to see my son just bloom as an actor, he's so great in the movie, and he's getting such, great accolades. I'm really happy and proud for him.
Now, you played Reverend Green in the film. How important was it to show the spiritual side and the importance of God and the church in the film?
I think it was enormously important because it was that was a factual component of it. Of course, Harriet's spirituality, Reverend Green, who was a historical character himself, who was instrumental in the Underground Railroad and had a very large congregation and very large impact and influence on the enslaved persons who were trying to reach freedom. So the spirituality of the movie is really, I think, the driving force of it.
Absolutely. And because you know how they say, back in the day that slave owners would use pastors as a way to keep the slaves in line using the Bible. But your character helped to free the slaves. And how much trust did the slave master actually have in the pastor because you were helping to free them?
Well, the slave masters, the enslavers, had a great deal of confidence in the pastors who were going around using biblical quotes to sort of further the interest of the enslavers. However, as we all know, many of the reverends and persons in the field were speaking in code.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our songs through spirituals, through our underground railroad, through and so the trust that was given to my character by the enslaver really allowed me to go from plantation to plantation, building this network. And for those who could hear it, for those who knew, then it was a great calling for them.
Now, how much historical research went into every character and Harriet Tubman's life to bring it to life on the big screen?
Casey did about 7 months of in-depth research. He read every book about Harriet, every book about the Underground Railroad. I personally did all my work on the Underground Railroad and on Reverend Green specifically, because I was really interested in bringing that character to life and bringing as much verisimilitude to that, to his life and his and his portrayal in the movie. And so there was a great deal of research, and all the historians who now talk about the movie or do interviews with Casey talk about how accurate it is.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things I didn't know about Harriet was her narcolepsy, and you guys brought that to the big screen. How important was it to highlight that?
Oh, very, very important in that was the conduit through which, in the movie, many of her dreams or her visions or her revelations, her guidance, her divine guidance kind of moves through that as an instrument in the movie. And it's well documented that she felt she was divinely guided and would not have been able to accomplish what she had without her being surrendering to a higher power.
And one thing I like in the film as well, and that your wife helped to highlight, was her relationship with William Steele. I really enjoyed that,
Mm-hmm.
and his importance and his role in her life. But I wanted to know, when all of you was working on this film together, you as Reverend Green, I have to bring up your wife because she's your better half, and she was a director. What was it that you wanted the viewers to take away from watching this film?
That the sheer will of determination that what we can accomplish through sheer will. We have so much work to continue to do, and we've made such strides. But to the degree that we endeavor to continue to move forward, recognize that we stand on the shoulders of many, many, many strong ancestors, and think about what they went through to bring us to the place where we are, where we can continue to move forward and carry the torch. I think in many ways that's one of the messages, and another message I think is the ability for us to surrender and be guided by a higher power, and that can be God, it can be whatever we want to call it. But we, as humans, are walking around trying to micromanage our lives with exactly what we want at every given turn. But if we can sometimes surrender, as Harriet did, we can be guided,
Absolutely,
divinely, ultimately to the things that we are looking for.
Now, I had a question for you. Were there black bounty hunters during that time? I didn't know there were black bounty hunters in the 1800s. So that was an education for me as well, watching the film.
Yes, that's a historical fact. Yes, there were black bounty hunters, as well as, of course, black overseers doing the bidding of the enslavers. And I think that was part of one of the things that Casey wanted to sort of portray in this movie. Is not as a slave movie. It's a story of freedom. So you have free black persons You have enslaved black folks. You have, you have black bounty hunters. You have, people on the Underground Railroad who are black folks who are helping. You have white folks who are part of the Underground Railroad who are helping. And you have the river, the men on the river. So you don't really necessarily people don't necessarily see that component of it. That really a lot of that traversing from north to south was on the river.
Right.
And so she wanted to bring all those historical elements to the movie that were real, and so it's not black and white. It's just not. There were all sorts of. There's a lot of gray in between there.
Well, Vondie, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. It was definitely a pleasure having you on the show. I want to say thank you so much for bringing Harriet to the big screen for all of us. And one of my prayers is that this movie is in every history class in the United States and the world, because this history was important to be told. And thank you for sharing the story.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.